Bodybuilding for me it's like a way of life. True bodybuilding is self-discipline and self-mastery at the highest level. There's a spiritual aspect to it that is very hard to explain unless someone has gone through a contest prep themselves. I'm food deprived, but I still have to train, still have to stay dedicated to this cause. To be able to deny yourself of the pleasures of life in order to achieve a certain goal. It all kind of started with bodybuilding, specifically competitive bodybuilding. Towards my senior year of high school, I did track, I played football. I was an active kid, but I was never like big, you know. And it all started for me like senior year of high school. I went to a gym in my town, and I met a bodybuilder there, and he was prepping for a show, and I had never seen someone that big in my life. And that was when I realized that this is a possibility. This is something that someone can do. And the first thing that came to my mind is I want to look like that. So being the cocky little kid I am, I approached him and I said, you know, hey, how do I look like that? How do I get big arms? Which now I'm, you know, where I am today. That's the one thing you don't just go ask a bodybuilder, right? What he's supposed to tell you. But he was nice enough, and he was basically like, kid, you got to train hard, you know, eat the whole shebang. And I would see him in the gym from time to time, and I would basically copy what he was doing. And over time, I fell in love with it. I found pumping iron. That was my main intro into actual competitive bodybuilding, to know what it was about. And that taught me, you know, the basics of what competitive bodybuilding was. So in 2016, I decided to go into a bodybuilding show. I was still a little bit smaller at the time, around like 200 pounds. But I ended up doing that show. It was like a back-end show in New York somewhere. I ended up winning it. I won the novice class at that show, and then I took a hiatus. You know, getting out of college as a young adult, you're kind of trying to find yourself. Then the pandemic happened, and I realized at that point, you know, if someone that's always active, not being able to do it to the capacity that I wanted, it made me realize that, wow, this is something that I really love. And if bodybuilding was to end for me today, I've done nothing. So I told myself, when things open back up, I'm going to step on a bodybuilding stage, and I'm going to see how I can take this as far as I can go. You don't go through a prep looking for motivation. Newsflash, the motivation's not there. The motivation dies after 5 weeks. You know, once you've been going through 40 to 90 minutes of cardio every single day, the first 2 weeks, it's great. By week 7, week 8, you know, 8, that's 42 days of just doing that straight. Like, forget the prep. Think about off-season, right? You're done with your contests. You know, whatever you placed or whatever, okay, now I can go ahead and eat pizzas all day if I want to. You can't. That's not bodybuilding. You're not a bodybuilder. It doesn't matter what season you're in. You do it because that's the way you live your life. Physiologically, you feel very different in a prep versus when you're in contest. For context, I was 285 pounds at the peak of my off season. I do not feel ready to run on a treadmill or be on a Stairmaster, right? I'm sluggish. I'm eating all day, and it got to a point where I would walk around the block with my girlfriend, and I'm like, starting to feel out of gas, you know? So mentally, the switch, it's gradual. Your diet's the same, everything's the same, but now, you know, the cardio, maybe you're pushing a little bit harder. You know, the prep, in the off season, I can get away with doing on a Stairmaster, doing level 4 on a Stairmaster, right? In a prep, I need to raise my heart rate. You're going to level 7. It's gonna suck for the first couple of weeks, but it gets better. And of course, you know, if you have a free meal here and there, you know, maybe go out with the girlfriend for dinner or something like that, those get taken out too. That's where the shift comes. But honestly, the shift starts to really come when you start seeing the results. You know, when the fat starts to drop, you look at yourself in the mirror in the morning, you've got some veins, you're like, okay, yeah, let's keep going. Again, I have a goal where I need to get to. These are the things that I need to do to make sure I get to that goal. And every single day, as long as I hit those check boxes, I know that I'm going to get there, because there's nothing worse than getting to that final place and saying I wasn't prepared. People don't talk about this a lot, but every amateur bodybuilder goes through this at some point. Even pros till today still go through this at some point, which is that question of, do I have it? You know, do I actually have it? You know, you see those questions all the time online, like, you know, someone will send you a picture of themselves and they're like, do you think I have it for bodybuilding? And you never really know.